What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Child's Play 2. So Child's Play 2 is the follow-up to the first Child's Play. Of course, I am talking about the original Child's Play, so this is the sequel to the original one, following the story of Charles Lee Ray, the psychopath serial killing doll. And yeah, let's talk about this movie. If you remember from watching my last review for Child's Play, and if you haven't seen that review, I'll go ahead and just reiterate. All of these films are B movies. I know that these are B-rated horror films. There's really nothing about these films that are great or outstanding narratively. You don't really have characters that you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to see that character come back again. What you care about when you watch these kind of movies that star characters like Pinhead and Chucky and Jason and Freddy Krueger even in a lot of sequels and Michael Myers, is that you have these characters that you enjoy watching kill people, whether they speak, whether they don't speak, and the other characters that are in the film that are just dying the entire time really don't matter. These characters are of an age of horror that doesn't exist anymore. But what I love about the Child's Play franchise and the Chucky franchise as a whole is Chucky in general. And I think just like in the first film and just like the rest of these films, he drives these films 100%. So I think the first thing I can say right out of the gate is that this film is driven by Chucky. I really enjoy Chucky in this film. Now when I say it's driven by him, I don't mean that he drives the narrative or that he's like the focal point of the film. But there's a lot more Chucky in this film than there was in the original Child's Play in 1988, and I do really enjoy Chucky's screen time in this film. I think the last act is a lot more exciting and a lot cooler and in a lot more, I guess, creepy environment than in the first film. The first one's, you know, your pretty standard film. I think there's some really creepy and effective moments in the first film. I wouldn't say creepy like it's scary, but they put you in an environment that's different in the first movie, and I think Chucky's able to do a little bit more in the finale of this film than he was in the last film. Now, as usual, I won't be getting into any spoilers, but I will be giving kind of spoilery kind of stuff if you care about what happened at the finale of the last film, and it's not anything really big or drastic. Like I said, the continuity of these films doesn't matter as much, though I do enjoy the continuity that the Chucky films do have, as wacky and silly as it does become. So after the events of the first Child's Play, you have Andy, the kid who Chucky is trying to get his soul inside of. This kid has now been sent to multiple homes. He's in foster care, and his mother has been put in a psych ward because she's telling everybody there was a killer doll at the end of the last film. And yeah, that was their way of writing out the mom from the first film. You know, she was actually kind of, if anything, probably one of the most interesting characters from the first film. The mom finally realizes that Andy had really been speaking to this doll because he was this serial killing doll. He was this sick, nasty doll. He was an evil doll. And that's the general gist of the film. They hadn't really doubled down on Charles Lee Ray and really how crazy he really becomes in the later films. But yeah, at the end of the last film, the mom finally notices, and this movie picks up with having this kid bounce around from different homes, and the mom is now in a psych ward, and they completely write her out of this franchise. She does not matter anymore, and obviously that's spoilery, but it's spoilery, but it's not. You know, you can still watch the first movie, and she still plays a role in that film, but that's kind of what the setup is of this film, and she really doesn't matter anymore. So Andy is now being placed with a new family, a mom, a dad, and they have a teenage girl that they also take care of now in this foster home. And you know, this family's trying to make him feel welcome. They're trying to make him, you know, enjoy this new life and make him realize, hey, this Chucky character, this Chucky thing is not a real thing. It's not really happening, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure you can see where that goes. The same toy company that makes the good guy dolls ends up getting their hands on the doll of Chucky, and instead of just throwing it away, this doll that had been burnt up, shot, and essentially just massacred from the first film, they end up recreating it. They just give it a new skin. They take the old mold of what Chucky was, the destroyed one from the first film, and create a new doll over it. Now, that's just your typical just B-movie horror bullshit to get you to be like, oh yeah, Chucky's back. Literally, that's all that happens. He gets rebuilt on top of the old, dead, destroyed body, and he's alive again, and that's how Chucky is back in this film. Chucky wakes up, he starts killing people, and is now on his way to find Andy so that he can get his soul into his body. And of course, now this new foster family of characters that really don't matter at all is caught in the middle, especially the mom and dad. They're super expendable in this film, and they're just characters that don't matter. You know, at a point you think that they matter, but then you find out they're really just fodder for Chucky. And yeah, you know, for me, the biggest thing I can say about this movie is I really enjoy Chucky. The animatronic work, the camera work, the special effects that they used, whether they're using a little person in a suit and certain camera angles, or they would use sets that were a lot bigger. The items were in them were a lot bigger, like a couch or something like that, and you have somebody in a suit that's Chucky running around, and the way that they would position the camera, all of that. I think all the Chucky stuff is done effectively. I really love how Brad Dourif does his voice. I really enjoy Chucky as a character. I think in each and every one of these Chucky films, Chucky is done so well, and he's executed so well by the voice acting and the animatronic work and all of that, that he just is hard to not be entertained by. Chucky may be this sick, disgusting, demented psycho, but I've always loved his character. He is just a consistent character who has grown throughout the films, and in small degrees. He's funny at times, though he's crude and sick and nasty in a lot of other ways. But yeah, I think that he is easily the most consistent, strong, and awesome part of these films from a voice acting perspective, as well as just an appearance, and the effect works. He does look and feel like this nasty, creepy doll, and although the films come off funny and cheesy in a lot of ways, you can't help but think, like, man, if I had to deal with this motherfucker, I would be losing my mind. But outside of Chucky, yeah, this is just a film with weak acting, some just really just what the hell kind of decisions. There's constant decisions made in this film where you think, you have to be kidding me. Like, you can understand maybe that guy making a dumb decision, or that guy making a dumb decision, or this person who just shows up on the screen for a moment and Chucky just randomly passes by. But it just feels like every single character in this film, every single one of them is a moron. Every single one of them gets themselves killed. And sure, it's the horror tropes. It was horror tropes of the time. But even at that point, it's just every single character in this film is an idiot. Every single character in this film that dies deserves to die. And you just don't care about anybody, but you enjoy Chucky, you enjoy the killings. And I think that the Andy Barclay storyline that's followed across the first 3 Child's Play movies is entertaining enough to just see his interaction with Chucky, and the fact that Chucky wants him, and the way Chucky talks to him, and the way he talks to Chucky. It's just so dumb and so silly, but I just genuinely enjoy it. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be our review. I don't have too much more to say. This is not a great film. I think the first one was definitely better. This film is very similar to the first one in a lot of ways, except for this time Andy, knows a lot more about Chucky. There's a little bit more history there, but it just has forgettable characters that do not matter for the rest of the franchise outside of Andy. And Chucky does some cool things, and he gets messed up a few times, and he gets destroyed at the end, and it's another Chucky film. If you've seen any of these films like this, the Jason, Michael Myers, there's always that moment at the end where they get messed up, somebody survives, somebody wins, and then, maybe they show at the end that something on their body part moves and they survived, and there's gonna be another one, so that's what this film is. That is what Child's Play 2 is. It is Child's Play 1 with just slight variant differences. And this film just has characters that are far more stupid than any of the characters in the first film, far more forgettable. There's a couple characters you may enjoy just for the sake of here, I'll enjoy you for the time that you're here on screen. But for the most part, the only thing that you really care about when you're watching this film is the interactions between Andy and Chucky, and specifically Chucky. There are some great Chucky moments, some funny little moments with Chucky, and I don't think it's one of the best Child's Play movies or most fun Child's Play movies. If anything, I would say this is bottom tier, mid-bottom tier, but I do enjoy it because I enjoy the first film, and it feels like a natural, just continuation of the first film. So I do recommend this film, guys, but again, like I mentioned in the last review, and I will mention in every single one of these reviews, these films are 110% not for everybody. I totally understand that, and I totally recognize that. There are certain films that I can tell you guys, you will love this. Whether you guys agree or not, there are films that I can feel strongly about and say I feel like you will really get a deep connection with, that you will really love, that I can talk about all the artistic elements that really make a film. And this is just not one of those films. You really have to be into this B-rate kind of horror. You really have to get into the character of Chucky and be into just it being this silly, dumb franchise that you recognize is not great, but it has a certain charm and a certain weirdness to it that I think is the reason that it's stood the test of time, and the reason that Chucky has become a household name in horror is because of films like this, these B-rate, just cheesy films where Chucky was able to shine because of the animatronics, the voice acting, and just being incredibly different for the times. And as far as a horror icon, there's really not too many other characters like Chucky. There may be a lot of other doll characters, but there really isn't any others like Chucky. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be my review. Let me know what you think down below. Some of you may absolutely hate this movie. There's a lot of boring parts parts. There's a lot about it that's just not good. Like, it's not a good movie, but it is a good B horror film. There's a lot of stupid moments, but I think Chucky is done really, really well in this film, and I think there is something to enjoy here if you watch the whole franchise chronologically. So yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments below what you think of this movie. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I would really appreciate that. It helps the channel out. Hit subscribe if you are not already subscribed to my channel. I look at my analytics sometimes and I notice that there's a huge amount of people who watch my channel who are not subscribed. And if you are not subscribed, if you're a friend, if you're a family member, if you're just some random person who's come across my channel, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it and would really help this channel out. I hope you enjoy these videos, have a lot of fun doing them, and I'll see all of you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!